at 5:14 in the morning, while my husband slept peacefully beside me. His phone lit up with a message from my best friend. "So when are you finally going to tell your pregnant wife about us?" In 1 second, my marriage, my friendship, and my entire life collapsed silently. I used to think betrayal was loud. Screaming, crying, doors slamming. But real betrayal is quiet. It's making breakfast for someone who destroyed you the night before. It's smiling at your children while your heart breaks so badly you can barely breathe. And somehow, the worst part wasn't that the other woman was a stranger. It was her. My best friend. The woman I trusted with every secret I had. The woman who held me while I cried over my dying father. The woman I called my sister. A week before everything happened, I would have told anyone I was happy. Not because life was perfect. It wasn't. My father was dying from cancer. I was 6 months pregnant and exhausted all the time while raising 2 children. But I still believed my life was safe. Believed I was loved. Funny how quickly life destroys illusions. I met my husband when I was 19. He was calm, caring, and thoughtful. The kind of man who remembered every little detail about me. My father loved him from the beginning. We built a life together. Marriage. Tiny apartment. Then a bigger house after our second child. Movie nights. Grocery runs. Small arguments that ended in laughter. A normal, beautiful life. At least that's what I thought it was. And then there was her. My best friend since childhood. Our mothers were friends before we were born. She was part of every chapter of my life. My wedding day. The birth of my children. Every heartbreak and every happy moment. She had keys to my house. I trusted her around my husband without ever questioning it. Maybe that's why this hurts so much. Because betrayal only works when trust exists first. 2 years ago, my father was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. My mother died when I was 12, so my dad was my entire world. Then 5 months ago, the treatment stopped working. The doctor quietly said months, not years. After that day, I watched my father slowly fade away. He forgot things sometimes. One afternoon he looked at the dog he bought me for my 21st birthday and asked where we got him. I smiled and told him the story again. Then I cried alone in the bathroom where he couldn't hear me. During all of this, my husband became my biggest support. Or at least that's what I believed. He came to appointments, helped with the kids, held me during panic attacks, kissed my forehead and told me he had me. When my father got worse, he encouraged me to quit my job because I was overwhelmed. And I trusted him completely. That morning started normally. My youngest was sick, and my husband's alarms kept going off. Half asleep, he told me he was too tired for work and rolled over. I grabbed his phone to turn off the alarms. That tiny moment changed everything. Because while I was holding his phone, her message appeared on the screen. I picked up the phone quietly and walked out of the room. My hands shook while unlocking it. Then I opened their messages. 4 months. 4 months of lies, messages, photos, and hotel bookings. While I sat beside my father during chemotherapy, they were sleeping together. While I cried on her shoulder, she was lying to my face. While I carried his child, he was loving another woman. And the sickest part, there were no signs. He was still affectionate, still loving, still kissing me every morning before work. That realization hurt more than the cheating itself. Because suddenly every memory felt fake. I spent 2 hours sitting on the bathroom floor reading everything while my husband slept peacefully down the hallway. That night I didn't sleep at all. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to throw his phone in his face. But instead I stayed quiet. 'Cause I realized something. If he could lie this calmly for 4 months, then I needed to stop thinking emotionally and start thinking carefully. The next morning, I acted normal for my children. The second he left for work, I sent every screenshot to myself and called a lawyer. Then I called my old boss to ask for my job back. That night, I sat alone in the dark waiting for my husband to come home. And one thought kept repeating in my head. Tomorrow everything ends. But the scariest part, he still had no idea that I knew. #Part 2. The next morning felt strangely calm. Not peaceful. Just empty. Like my heart had already cried so much during the night that there was nothing left inside me. I woke up before everyone else and sat at the edge of the bed staring at my husband sleeping beside me. For 6 years that face was my safe place. Now it felt like looking at a stranger. I got up quietly, made breakfast for the kids, packed their school bags, and smiled like nothing was wrong. Not for him. For them. Because children should never have to carry the weight of their parents' pain. Meanwhile, he walked around the kitchen casually, asking if I slept okay, kissing my cheek before drinking coffee like he hadn't destroyed my entire life. Every second around him felt unbearable. But I stayed calm. 'Cause I already had a plan. The moment he left for work, I started preparing. I packed bags for myself and the kids, collected important documents, transferred money into my personal account, and then I drove to my lawyer's office. Sitting there while discussing custody, finances, and divorce papers felt unreal, like I was listening to someone else's story. But this was my life now, a life I never asked for. Later that afternoon, I invited her mother and my mother-in-law over. My hands were shaking the entire time. Not because I was nervous, because saying the truth out loud would make everything real. When they arrived, my children were outside playing, completely unaware that their world was about to change forever. I sat at the dining table holding my phone tightly, and without saying a word, I handed them the screenshots. I watched confusion slowly turn into heartbreak. Her mother started shaking instantly, whispering no over and over again like denial could somehow change reality. My mother-in-law stared silently at the screen for a long time. Then tears filled her eyes. And she whispered something I will never forget. I didn't raise my son to become this kind of man. Not defensive. Not angry. Heartbroken. Like she was mourning him too. Then she walked over and held my hands tightly. No matter what happens, you are still my daughter. And right there, in the middle of losing everything, I almost collapsed. Because someone still chose me. That evening, I took my children to my father's house. The second he saw me, he knew something was wrong. Fathers just know. He looked at me quietly and asked what happened. And for the first time since discovering the affair, I completely broke down. I cried so hard I could barely breathe. My father held me like he used to when I was little and whispered that none of this was my fault. That I didn't deserve this. That some people destroy good things because they're selfish enough to think they'll never lose them. A few hours later, my phone started exploding with calls. Over and over again. Then came the messages. Where are you? Why aren't you answering? Please let me explain. Explain what? 4 months of lies. 4 months of sneaking around while I cried about my dying father. There's no explanation for that. Only excuses. Then my best friend called. I stared at her name on my screen for a long time before blocking her number completely. Because some betrayals don't deserve closure. That night, while my kids slept beside me and my father rested in the next room, I finally realized something. I lost my husband. I lost my best friend. But I didn't lose myself. And maybe that's what saved me in the end. Because heartbreak can destroy your life for a while. But it should never destroy your worth. And honestly, I still don't know if he regrets hurting me. Or if he only regrets getting caught. So tell me honestly, if someone betrayed you like this, would you ever forgive them? Or would trust be gone forever?